This material explores the extreme, terrifying physical characteristics and destructive history of Jupiter, framing the gas giant as a cosmic monster that both shaped and threatens our solar system.
Yeah, that cosmic monster angle really grabs you right away.
It does, yeah. So, a key theme running through this material seems to be the sheer hostility of the planet, which creates a highly engaging, dramatic tone right out of the gate.
Oh, absolutely.
But to maximize the reader's experience, we really need to look at how we can strengthen the overall narrative structure. Because right now it reads a bit like a haunted house, where all the monsters jump out of the closets at the exact same time.
Right, exactly. The script relies on circular dramatic reveals rather than a clear escalating narrative arc.
Yeah, the pacing feels a bit randomized.
That's clearly laid out. But I wonder, though, if we've considered the pacing of these dramatic reveals. The major weakness here is that the material jumps back and forth. You've got atmospheric dangers like the 400-kilometer-per-hour storms.
Right.
And then it suddenly zooms out to historical destruction, like the inner planets being wiped out.
Which is a huge jump.
It is. And then it goes back over to systemic threats, like the radiation belts and tortured moons. This causes repetitive dramatic beats that eventually dilute the impact of the planet's hostility.
I mean, I hear what you're saying about a lack of structure, but doesn't starting with the grand tack history kind of ruin the pacing? Like, if we start with massive planetary destruction billions of years ago.
The gravitational snowplow stuff?
Yeah, exactly, where it sweeps away early planetary material. If we start there, isn't it kind of anticlimactic to end on a fuzzy core?
Well, not necessarily. You just need to reorganize the script to follow a distinct spatial or chronological escalation to naturally build attention.
Okay, so how do we do that without losing the momentum?
These are just a few ways to approach this, but you could structure the piece as a physical descent.
Oh, a descent. I like that.
Right? So you begin at the macro-historical level with that grand tack history, clearing the asteroid belt. Then you move inward to the orbital level, highlighting the 20,000 times stronger magnetic field and the lethal radiation cooking Io.
Wow, okay. And then we go into the planet itself.
You got it. Finally, you dive deep into the atmosphere, dropping through the Great Red Spot, transitioning into the liquid metallic hydrogen.
Where the pressure literally strips electrons from atoms.
Exactly. And then you end at that bizarre core.
So descending into that extreme high-pressure environment naturally brings up what kind of entity we're actually dealing with. And, the material leans heavily into this monster motif, painting the planet purely as a malevolent destroyer.
The relentless characterization of the planet as a malevolent entity overshadows the nuanced scientific debate about its life-enabling properties.
It does, yeah. It sort of ignores the other side of the coin.
I mean, is there a risk that focusing solely on the monster angle might overlook the fascinating scientific paradox at play?
Definitely. The text briefly acknowledges the shield versus threat debate, like with comets being vacuumed up by Jupiter's gravity.
Shoemaker Levy 9, for example.
Right, exactly. But the weakness is that it quickly dismisses this complexity to return to horror tropes, completely flattening the rich, paradoxical reality of its systemic influence.
Yeah, it's a bit of a missed opportunity.
I can see what they're going for with the monster motif, and I admit it's a really fun read. But how do we maintain that gripping dramatic tension without completely flattening the underlying science?
Well, you elevate the narrative by leaning heavily into the paradox of a cosmic destroyer that simultaneously creates the precise conditions required for life.
Okay, so you lean into the contradiction.
Yes. For example, you might juxtapose the violent destruction of the first-generation inner planets directly against its role in establishing the narrow corridor of safety for Earth.
Oh, that's a great contrast.
Alternatively, you could emphasize how the brutal tidal forces,
where Jupiter's gravity physically squishes Io.
Right, creating internal friction that cooks the moon from the inside out. Those are the exact same mechanism keeping Europa's subsurface ocean liquid.
Which makes it a prime candidate for alien life. That paradox is fascinating. It's like a gravitational meat grinder that might also be incubating life.
It's incredible.
But interacting with that meat grinder isn't just a theoretical exercise. We actually hurled billions of dollars of our own hardware right into it.
The incorporation of current scientific missions feels detached from the established themes of cosmic violence and survival.
Yeah, those sections feel a bit like reading a textbook right after reading a thriller.
Building on that point, what if we looked at it from the perspective of the spacecraft themselves? Because the main weakness here is that spacecraft like Juno and Galileo are introduced late in the piece merely as passive data gathering tools.
Which abruptly drops the dramatic high-stakes tension we established earlier.
Exactly. It totally drops the tension during the critique of the planet's extreme environments.
But I actually thought the technical specifications were a strong point. Like mentioning Juno's 200-kilogram titanium radiation vault is a really great concrete detail.
Oh, sure.
Does it really drop the tension to include the actual engineering of these probes?
Well, the engineering isn't the issue, it's the framing. You have to integrate the scientific missions as active protagonists battling the planet's extreme conditions to tie the empirical findings directly into the established tone of danger.
So instead of just mentioning that titanium radiation vault as a dry technical specification,
Frame it as a desperate survival mechanism holding off an onslaught of near-light-speed particles.
oh wow, that completely changes the feel.
Right? Or describe the Galileo probe not just as an explorer, but as a sacrificial entity enduring the equivalent of 25 million dental X-rays.
Before being crushed and vaporized by the very atmosphere it was sent to study. That is so much more engaging.
It really ties the whole piece together.
Okay, so to elevate this strong material, the writer should escalate the narrative structure by taking the audience on a clear spatial or chronological descent.
And embrace the nuanced paradox of a planet that destroys worlds while enabling life.
Right. And finally, frame our robotic space missions as active survival stories against an overwhelming environment.
Applying these actionable suggestions will ensure the material is robust, logically paced, and deeply engaging.
Absolutely. We invite you to implement these revisions and submit your updated work back in for another critique.